Peace and blessing, family. It's your man, Marifa, and welcome to Bible study. That's right, Bible study. This is our esoteric Bible study. It is Sunday, so you know we're going to start reading this scripture. Now, truth seekers, did you know that 95% of Christians claim to not have read the Bible? All right, 95%. A large majority have confessed to me, in my past years as Christian, that they do not read the Bible. So a lot of them will carry their Bibles with them to church every Sunday. They will leave the Bible on a table somewhere in their house. Some of them would even actually sleep with their Bible under their pillow. I've heard some crazy stories, all right? But they will not open that book. They will not open this book, the Bible, and read it to understand what they claim to believe in, all right? That's the reason why we do what we do here at the Marifa Moments and Bible Study. We go through and we actually read the Bible, scripture, verse by verse, and we actually dig deep and get into the esoteric meaning of the scriptures so that you can understand what it is you claim to believe in. All right. And then you have a choice for yourself to either carry on or move forward and elevate. All right. So it's up to you. But like I said, we're going to go ahead and go forward today. We coming like we always do at this time from the King James Study Bible. All right. So this is the King James Study Bible that we'll be reading from. And I want to go back to end of chapter 3. Before we move into chapter 4, I want to move back to the end of chapter 3 and explain a little bit further the tree of life. OK, so we're going to read the last 3 verses of chapter 3 of Genesis, starting at verse 22. And it reads, "And the Lord God said, Behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand, and take also of the tree of life, and eat, and live forever. Therefore, the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground, from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims, and a flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life." Tree of life is extremely important, true seekers. The tree of life is actually what your purpose is on this earth, to be able to obtain a Christ consciousness. All right. Christ consciousness is a title. It is not a man. Christ is not a man that ever walked on the planet. I'm sorry to tell you, but it is a title. OK, Christ consciousness is an elevation and understanding of connecting back to the Most High God. God is an energetic being, an energetic spirit. God is consciousness, an energetic consciousness. That means God knows all things. All is all things. God is in all living things, everything. Your soul that you have is your consciousness. Your spirit is the life that is in your body. Okay, so the energy of the spirit is your life. The soul is your consciousness, your understanding, your awareness, everything that you have and connecting with God. So the tree of life is representation of those branches growing back with nature, one with the universe, with the creator of all things. The tree is a creation of God, and it symbolizes that. All right. So having this connection back to life, everlasting, okay, the Christ consciousness. You're here on this earth to be able to obtain experiences and knowledge that you're supposed to go through, either good or bad. That's going to happen to you. And in those experiences, you learn something. All right. When you learn something, you're supposed to grow and mature from that, either mentally, spiritually, or emotionally. Whatever the harm that comes your way, whatever the evil or wicked, you're supposed to grow from those experiences and gain an understanding of God. God knows all things. God not only knows good things, but God also knows bad things. Okay. We each have the capacity to do good or evil. Okay. We have the capacity. So the upper and lower brain, you have the upper part of it is that of where the pineal gland sits in the brain. That has the capacity to provide you the capacity to understand love, compassion, empathy, sympathy, care, all of those good and wonderful things The lower part of your brain is where you have the capacity to understand the evil and wicked things, deception, anger, bitterness, revenge, strife, jealousy. All of those things come from your lower self. All right. You have a higher self. So a lot of people, they like to talk about the higher and lower selves. You have a lower self and a higher self. So you have the capacity to do either or. But you must maintain control of yourself in order for you to maintain your higher self and reach that Christ consciousness, your life's purpose, to understand and elevate and connect one with God, the ultimate creator. Okay? The consciousness of God. So that is the purpose of the tree of life. So when they're talking about having the tree of life, when they ate of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, now there had to be a duality. Okay, the duality is life. So you had death, God telling Adam, if you eat of this fruit, you shall surely die. They did not die a physical death. They died a spiritual death. Okay, so when they said the fall of man spiritually, you're dying to the fact that you're in now in your lower self. The capacity is now in your lower self. Before, they were ignorantly bliss in their higher selves and didn't know anything about the lower self because God didn't teach them that, right, in the story. So now that they understood the capacity that they have to do both, right, then they had this knowledge of it. So the duality had to occur. So there's two trees, the one knowledge of good and evil, and the other the tree of life. So you had to have the duality, right? Life and death was in it, duality, just like God and Satan, or they called the serpent, duality, male and female in the garden, duality. So you got to look at the story and understand that everything has duality. There's an opposite for everything. All right. That's universal law. Everything has to happen that way. All right. So when you understand that and you reach the level of Christ consciousness, you're connected one with God eternally. That means you're spiritually connected with God eternally. Your soul, your spirit, your consciousness is connected one with God. And that level of understanding is called Christ consciousness. You're reaching that level of agape love, unconditional love. All right. Without conditions. That means you love them regardless of what they do. You love them regardless of what they say to you, how they treat you, and all of this, that, and the third. You forgiving and all of these things, right? This is the reason why they took the tree of life and distracted you with other things in the book and gave you Jesus. Jesus personified the characteristics of what the tree of life should be. Your purpose is to follow and try to seek that tree of life so you can gain that understanding and that level of understanding of Christ consciousness and be one with God. Okay, so that's your true purpose when you think about it. But moving on to chapter 4. All right, so that was the end of chapter 3. We're transitioning on into chapter 4, and we're going to start at verse 1. All right, so we're talking about Cain and Abel. Very, very deep story, right? Okay. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. First of all, when they say Adam knew Eve, that means they had sex. Okay. They had sex. They created a baby. So you need male and female energies, masculine and feminine energies to come together in order to procreate life. All right. You can't have male and male. You can't have female and female. That's impossible for you to create life. All right. So universal law, you have to have the opposites of everything. Remember, nothing, you can't have the same in order for you to create. You have to have the opposite, positive, negative, male, female, God, Satan, good, evil, all of that stuff. All right. Life and death, duality. Everything is duality. You got to understand that. So when they conceived, they bare a son. The son's name was Cain. All right. And she said, I have begotten a man from the Lord. The man, remember, like I mentioned before, Francis Bacon, the author of this story, the white European French Mason, he was a Mason that came out of the Rosicrucian, Masonic order. He was sanctioned by King James in 1611 AD to be able to write this version that you have right here today. So this is the same version that Francis Bacon created back in 1611 AD that we're still using today in the year 2022 AD. All right. So his mindset is all in the writings of these stories. He has that of a patrilineal mindset. So when they say, I have begotten a man from the Lord, a man is very important in the eyes of the white European. So a man has a ranking that is that better of a woman. Okay. In chapter 3, remember, they punished the woman, put her under submission underneath the man. The man is here. The woman is always going to be here. So the Bible, when they wrote it, they made it so that the patrilineal concept and ideology was enforced, and you understood that the man was more important than the woman. All right. And I'm going to show you why in a little bit later. We'll show you examples of that. All right. Verse 2. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. All right. Now you're establishing positions. Okay. A lot of people in society today, they feel prideful in the position that they have. Okay. A lot of pride is put into what type of job you have or what type of title you own, as far as what is your occupation and what do you do for work and how do you earn. So it says here, this is what is establishing right here. Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. You can insinuate in here that it sounds less than. Okay. It said, but Cain was a tiller of the ground, like it wasn't significant as Abel's. It wasn't, as important of a position as Abel's. Okay, so it's setting something up. A lot of people put themselves prideful and say, okay, well, hey, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, you know what I'm saying? I'm president of this, I'm this, all of these titles. This is how we come to have these titles in society today, where we feel ourselves full of pride, of these titles that we own. And all of the things that we have, behind our names, the alphabets behind our names, from the school and the education that we have, certificates and stuff that we have, degrees and all this, that, and the third. These titles, all of that stuff happened here in the very beginning from this chapter 4, okay, where you're getting these prideful titles. And then there's this significance where one title is better than the other. Or one job is better than the other. One job is more respected and loved than the other. You know what I mean? So that's the same way society is today. Teachers in society are not treated with the same respect as an athlete. Athletes make millions of dollars. All they do is play a sport. And they shoot a ball through a basket, or they carry a ball across the line on the grass. But a teacher is an educator. A teacher has to train and be patient and understanding and caring and loving. And they have to nurture and they have to grow the knowledge base of a child to be able to educate a child. But they're paid insignificantly in this society, all over the world. But an athlete gets paid millions of dollars to entertain you. Think about it. There's something very wrong with that. It's backwards. Okay. So moving on to verse 3. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstling of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect. There it is. The Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. So right there, the standard is set. Okay. One job is more respected than the other. One job is more significant in the eyes of God of this book than the other. What makes it more important than the tiller of a ground? What makes the keeper of sheep more important than the tiller of ground. Never explained it in the book. They never explained why God felt it more respect unto Abel to his offering. They never explained. Right? So, you saying here that the tiller of the ground is not as important as the keeper of the sheep. All right? So, that right there is causing a rift between the two. All right? One is feeling like they are, better than the other. And now jealousy is being crept into because everyone wants to be accepted. All right? Everyone is seeking acceptance in some form or fashion. I don't care if it's from, your loved one, your family, friends. Everyone wants to be embraced and in love or loved for who they are, not for what they do. So they seek acceptance, so that's something that's extremely, important to people. So when Cain did not get the acceptance from God, which he seeked, now he's looking at his brother with jealousy. You see, thinking in his lower brain. Now he's out of his higher self because he was being separated by this God. Here it is, this God putting these two brothers at odds with each other, trying to, claim one better than the other because this God in this book felt it necessary to distinguish the difference between their roles and responsibilities. One is better than the other. Now, when you look at deeper esoteric meanings, the fruit that was presented by Cain was a plant base. Okay, grew from a plant, right? Grew from a tree, right? But the killing of the sheep, or the firstling that they call it, of the flock, of the fat thereof, which is meat, killing of animal meat, came from Abel. That's the one that God respected. So now there's another dynamic that is occurring. Not only is there jealousy being established, not only is the significance of the order of their titles being differentiated, but God is also giving the respect to the one who had the meat. So what does that tell you for society? Why are we a society that is more carnivore in nature? Everywhere we go, McDonald's is there, Burger King, Chick-fil-A. We eat barbecues and stuff all the time, hot dogs. Every, 4th of July, meat. Constantly we killing cows, chickens every day. You know what I'm saying? So think about this from a deeper perspective. What is being said here in this scripture? What is being said here is that meat is more acceptable than plant-based, according to this God. So we're going to get away from plant-based and we're going to start elevating the importance of eating meat, which is not good to process in the human body. The human body is not meant to process as much meat as the humans eat today. Think about it. If you look at your portion size of your plate that you eat during the day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'm guaranteeing you're going to have for breakfast some eggs with some bacon, right? That comes from a pig, right? You're going to have some eggs and bacon, maybe some pancakes, right? For lunch, you're going to have you a turkey sandwich or something from a turkey, or a chicken sandwich or something. I don't know. And then for dinner, you're going to have you a steak, potato, something like that. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be eating meat constantly, and your body's not able to digest it naturally. Okay? So think about this concept, man. It is so crazy if you think about the deeper meaning of this, how God respected the offering of the meat as opposed to that of the fruit, which comes from a plant, right? So God put the brothers at odds at each other by causing this jealousy for not loving both of them equally. Then also God established that a new order of way we should eat. All right. So if you're looking at these scriptures and you're hearing this in church constantly, oh, yeah, that's what we do. That's why the Christians, the diet of the Christian is just so, they eat anything. They eat any and everything. But you know what? That causes heart disease, colon cancers. That causes all type of ailments of the body. If you don't detox that stuff out of your system and you constantly eating, you saying, I'm going to bless my food and everything and God going to bless. But you're killing yourself slowly. But it's established that you should do so according to this scripture that came from a white European man. Come on now. Come on now. Think about it. This white European man who was sanctioned by King James did not have your best interest at heart. They wanted to kill you. And you're going to kill yourself because you're looking at these scriptures thinking that, well, God said. Okay. All right. But anyway, going on. Verse 5. But unto Cain and to his offering, he had not respect. Remember, Cain gave him the fruit. He's like, no respect from God. And Cain was very wroth. That means he was mad. He was pissed off. Okay. And his countenance fell. So he looking at God like, for real? Like, I worked hard, tilled this ground all day. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving you some fruit. You know what I'm saying? Off the stuff that I till. And you just gonna, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got no respect for this. But he killed the, you know what I'm saying, a sheep and stuff. Now you gonna eat this bloody meat. He probably ain't cooked it. You know what I'm saying? And you gonna respect that more than what okay. All right. That's how Cain looked. All right then. Okay, cool. Got that. So that's how Cain took it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, all right. So, verse 6. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? What? God gonna ask him, so, boy, this God in this book. So he gonna ask him, why art thou wroth? Why you mad? That's what he pretty much saying. Why you mad? And why is thy countenance falling? Why you think? Why you think, God? Huh? What? My little job ain't good enough. My little offering ain't good enough. It ain't acceptable to you. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, I'm mad. And then here's this all-knowing God, allegedly, in this book, right? Christians tell you all the time, God is omniscient. That means he's all-knowing, right? God is omniscient. So how did God not know why? How is God questioning Cain and asking him, why are you mad? Why are you wroth? It's so funny. You got to read this stuff. Christians do not read this book. They don't read it. If they read it, they will say to themselves, this don't make no sense. It just don't. When you read it and you use your common sense, it don't make no sense. This book, I'm telling you. But the book was written by a white European. So when you put it in that perspective and you understand that, then you'll know, oh, this white man done get that's his mindset. This ain't no real God talk. This ain't no. Anyway. Verse 7. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou does not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked no, wait a minute. That's God telling Cain, like, if you did well, wouldn't your stuff be accepted too? Nah, that's a slap in the face. That's like some people say they call it throwing shade. No, that's a slap in your face. Okay? That's God slapping Cain in his face like, you know what I'm saying? How you gonna? He said, if you did well, wouldn't yours be accepted too? No love. Where's the love? You know what I'm saying? This is supposed to be his creation, God's creation. This God is supposed to be a loving God. You know what I'm saying? Where's the love? Ain't no love. This is all rejection. This is all just like, man, he throwing it right in his face like you ain't good enough. You know what I'm saying? He's like, if you would have been accepted. You know what I'm saying? That's just like a slap in the face. That's just like if you worked hard, all week on your job, right? You did a very good job. But the only thing that they can notice and see is the bad that you did. They don't never point out none of the good stuff that you accomplished and none of that stuff like that. They just pointing out the mistakes you made. You know what I'm saying? That's just, yeah, anyway. All right, so verse 8. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. That means he killed him. All right. So allegedly, this is the first murder that ever was committed in the world. Allegedly. All right. That Cain killed his brother Abel. Right. Cain was the firstborn and he killed his brother Abel. Abel was the secondborn. So he killed his brother. Right. Jealousy was placed in his heart. They already have the understanding of the knowledge of good and evil, and the capacity of the lower brain has hatred, anger, vengeance, jealousy, strife, all of those things. The upper brain is your higher self. Love, compassion, empathy, just honesty, all the beautiful and wonderful things, what I'm saying? But your lower self has the capacity of doing all of it. We are dualistic in nature. We can do either or. It's your choice what you choose to do that day. That's what they say in this book. Choose you this day whom you shall serve. You're talking about, are you going to serve your lower self or are you going to serve your higher self? Choose you this day. So you have a choice to choose either your lower self or your higher self. In this instance, Cain chose his lower self. He was like, you know what? This guy, boy, he going to look at him like, that's acceptable. I've been working all week long, trying to grow this damn stuff in the ground and this, that, and the third. And I finally got some fruit. And I bring it to this God and all of a sudden, that ain't good enough. He just slapped me, spit on it. And he going to accept his? I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. I ain't got no love, nothing. I can't get no love for the hard work that I put in. Nothing, right? So this God put jealousy between the two brothers. This God in this book right here, the story, the God placed the jealousy in the mind and the heart of Cain, which caused a reaction. Okay, every action has a reaction, right? So there's a reactionary things. So we have to be careful with our actions, right? And our thoughts and things of that nature. People do stuff all the time. The people that makes them angry, upset, and all this, that's just going to be life. But how you handle it, how you respond is very important. So this is a lesson here, right here in verse 8 of chapter 4 of Genesis. How you respond when difficult things occur in your life, disappointment occurs in your life, things don't go your way. How will you respond? Okay, so Cain killed Abel, committed murder, right? Killed him out of jealousy that was placed in his heart by this God. No excuse for Cain. He had a choice. He chose to kill. He could have did any other thing. He could have talked to his brother, could have asked him, hey, how did you get that done with God? How did you find favor with God? Could have had a conversation, could have settled it in a different way. Peaceful, but it didn't. He didn't. Right? He was wroth, angry. He felt rejected. That's what happens when you get the rejection. So everyone is seeking acceptance. Remember, I told you, I don't know if I told you this already in this video, but when you look at high school shooters, right? When you look at high school had these categories, that people fit into, as a teenager, right? You're going through these emotions and things like that. You're trying to figure yourself out. As a teenager, you're trying to discover who you are, what direction you're going to go in life, who you want to be, all of this stuff. And you're seeking acceptance as a teenager, right? So you have athletes, you have, nerds, you have, very educated ones, who are like a part of the student body. You have the punk rockers or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So there's different categories of groups, social groups in high schools. And if you're not fitting in any one of those circles and you're an outsider, Though that's another group, outsiders, right? Nobody talks to them. They click up together and they go do their thing or whatever. But if you're not even fitting with the outsiders, now you're a loner. A loner no one talks to. A loner no one, is hanging around with. A loner is very dangerous. So now you're in a situation where you have a choice. So the loner is not fitting in, to the other parts of the group. So they want to be accepted, just like Cain. So in essence, a loner will be the ones that will come back and shoot up the whole school because no one accepted them. That's what Cain did here. He was not accepted by God. Came back and killed his brother. Blamed it on his brother for being rejected by God. Blamed on his brother. So same situation with school shooters. They will blame everyone else except themselves for being loners. They won't accept and love themselves. They want acceptance from others so bad that it just hurts. It just hurts them so deep inside that no one will accept them. No one wants to talk with them. No one wants to be around them. No one wants to have a conversation. No one wants to spend time with them. Everybody makes fun of the person. Nobody, constant rejection. So that person is a loner. They don't fit in with the outsiders. They don't fit in with the jocks. They don't fit in with the athletes. They don't fit in with the nerds. They don't fit in with the student body, the king and queen of high school. They don't fit in the popular crowd. None of that. They're loners. Those be the same ones that come back and shoot up the school. So acceptance is very important. Loving yourself is very important. So you have to have a love of self. You have to have a love for yourself that that you're connected one with God. You have to have this understanding and knowledge of knowing that you are connected one with God. That's why it's important to seek that tree of life. Seek that tree of life to be able to have that connection and reach that elevation of Christ consciousness. Consciousness is knowing and awareness, understanding that you are someone special. Even if no one ever talks to you, even if no one ever hangs around you, you are special in the eyes of God. And also you would have a healthy respect for other creation of God. That means people that look like you, human beings, animals, plant life. You won't destroy them because you have a healthy respect for them because they're an aspect or a part of living life which comes from God. So you will respect that. When a loner is not accepted, just like Cain was rejected and not accepted, they dig deep into their lower selves, their lower brain thinking, and that jealousy, murder, anger, vengeance, all of that is a part of the lower self. And each and every human being has the capacity to go into their lower self or their higher selves. They can reach the higher self, but they have to choose it. They have to choose it. Cain chose his lower self, killed his brother. And that's what happens with school shooter as well. All right, so let's move on. Verse 9. Right, verse 9. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel, thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? So now Cain he's sassing God. He's sassing God now. He talking all like his chest out. Hey, am I my brother's keeper now? Huh? What? I mean, here's God again asking questions. The all-knowing God. You know what I'm saying? Asking questions again. As if he don't know. How is this God all-knowing? And he asking all these questions. Where's your brother Abel? Why? You know what I'm saying? And, Cain is like, man, listen. You're supposed to be God. You know what I'm saying? Am I my brother's keeper? You the one supposed to be God. You should know everything. Didn't you create all of this? Didn't you put all this together? Oh, am I my brother's keeper now? It's crazy. So anyway, verse 10. And he said, what hast thou done? Oh, now he know. The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. Right? The ground, the same ground that you didn't have no respect for that he tilled, that Cain tilled. But now the blood of the brother is crying out. Okay. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. All right. Verse 12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. And a fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. Now the punishment comes, right? Here's God. Set him up for failure again. Place that dang seed of rejection in his heart. You know, put it deep down in his heart. And now, you know, he reacted off of that action that God did. There was a reaction off the action. And now all of a sudden, he's being punished. He's being punished for the choice he made, right? But this same God was the one who set it all up and sat back and watched. What kind of sick God is this? What kind of games is this God playing? What kind of sick and twisted? This ain't no loving God. This is a white European God. Okay? This came from a white European man. Now, they got this story from the Greeks and the Romans, the white European Greeks and the Romans who created the Catholic Church. And we're gonna get deeper into that with the history, with the African studies. All right, we're gonna dig deeper into that. So be on the lookout for those Mariko Moment African study videos. We're gonna go back into history, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened. All right, but that's how this story got developed. Okay, so white European understanding, mindset, right? So, verse 12, and when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. No fruit. Nothing is going to bear fruit. Nothing. You're not going to be able to eat. The plants are not going to grow. All this, that, and the third, right? And he said, a fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. Now I said a vagabond is an estranged from his fellow men, and finding even the ground inhospitable, he became a wanderer in the land and wandering around. So that's the explanation that they have in this study Bible, right? A vagabond is someone who's estranged from other people, right? So, and Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. So he told him flat out, hey man, that's too much, man. I can't bear that. I can't bear that. You know what I'm saying? He told him, man, you doing too much, God. First he chest all out there, my brother's keeper. And now the punishment come down. He said, hey man, that's too harsh, man. I can't bear that. And so verse 14, and it says, behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that every one that findeth me shall slay me. What? I'm going to read that one more time. One more time. This is chapter 4 of Genesis, verse 14. This is what Cain is telling God. Hold on a second. It said, behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that every one that findeth me shall slay me. Who in the hell is he talking about? Who is this everyone that findeth me that he talking about? Okay, so in this story, allegedly, all right, we done went through chapter 1. Go see these videos, right? I already did these. I did chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, right? We done went through all and we read each one verse by verse. We're in chapter 4 right now. And here's Cain talking about that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. Who is he talking about? It's supposed to be Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel. Allegedly, the only 4 people on the earth. Allegedly. Right? So who is he talking about? This everyone. Now, let me tell you something. Remember I told you that the patrilineal mindset of the white European, how the woman has been marginalized and placed under submission, and how her role has been significantly reduced tremendously, right? Now, Africans, on the other hand, our women were venerated. Our women were always queens on the throne, empresses ruling over multiple lands. We had Queen Hatshepsut, we had Queen Nefertari, we had Queen T. You know what I'm saying? Just multiple Queen Candace, Queen Nzinga. So many queens of Africa. When the white European came on the scene, they changed all of that to a patrilineal. They put the woman beneath, and especially with their literature. Their literature is used to control the mindset of the people, the masses. So when they're telling these stories of this book back in those times, this is the concept and ideas that they're telling to the people, which reduces the woman to nothing. She's not even important enough to put in the story. So when Cain says in verse 14, chapter 4 of Genesis, that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. Now, remember, when God created male and female, created he them, created he them, and all of this, that in chapter 1. Remember, those were a different set of people. There was 2 creation stories. One where God created male and female, created he them in Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, right? And then, they was talking about the masculine and feminine energies, right? Those masculine and feminine energies were a different set of people. And those women that was involved in that, remember, going from chapter 2 all the way through to 3, it was calling the woman. It never gave the name of Eve. Eve came in chapter 3. Matter of fact, chapter 3. And Adam called his wife named Eve. Yep, chapter 3, verse 20. She came in chapter 3. So up until that point, they were saying woman. Now, there's been a lot of belief and understanding that in this Bible that there's been a lot of women that were born to Adam and Eve that were insignificant to the story, right? And they bear children in more than Cain and Abel and this, that, and the third. So this is the belief of the Christian, okay? Multiple people, right? So there's 2 creation stories in the book. One of male and female, created he them, chapter 1, verse 27. Yep, go back. Here it is. Chapter 1, 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he. Male and female created he them. That's Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. Then you go back to chapter 2, and God created man from the dust of the ground. That's Adam. So 2 different creation stories, right? But allegedly, when people are told in church that only Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel were on the earth, that's what the lie that they tell in the church. The pastors tell it all the time. The theologians teach it to the pastors who send them to the churches, and then the pastors teach that to the congregation. They teach it in Sunday school. Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel. That's it. They don't talk about other women that were born and nothing, because the woman is insignificant in the eyes of the white European, the author of this book. You got to understand the mindset, the patrilineal mindset of the white European male. Doesn't care about women. Cares about himself. Doesn't care about women. right? So, with that said, that's who they're talking about. When you think about, like, who are these people that Cain is talking about? Where did they come from? Male and female created he them. Remember? Two creation stories. So allegedly, God told them to go and be fruitful and multiply. Right? That's verse 28 of chapter 1. Told them. And God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. And dominion of the fish and the sea and all of that. Yada, yada, yada. Two creation stories here. Okay? You got to understand that. And you got to distinguish between the two. Okay? So this is what Cain is talking about, right? Cain is saying, well, everybody that find me shall slay me. And you say, who the hell is that? Everybody? It's supposed to be y'all four. That's it. The church will tell you it's only four. That's what the pastor gonna tell you. Only four. Cain, Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel. That's it. Then Cain's killed Abel. So then it's supposed to be three. Allegedly, right? But here's Cain. Verse 14, talking about everybody that see me gonna slay me, right? So then in verse 15, and the Lord said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark on Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. Wow. So here's the phrase where they say people get away with murder all the time. Cain got away with murder. Technically, his punishment was nothing. He didn't get killed by God. He didn't get killed, punished or anything like that as far as the severity of the level of, his punishment should be. He just removed him from one location and let him go over here to another location. That's what God did for him. And guess what? God offered him protection. So think about history and what happened with the white European male. Think about real history. The white European male has been conquering, killing, slaying, forcing religion, raping women all over the world, taking power and control by force, killing off people, stealing stuff. And all they do is move from one location to the next. So if they kill somebody over in Africa, they're going to leave and then go to Spain, go over there and kill somebody. Then they're going to leave from there, go to the Caribbean islands, kill somebody over there. Then they're going to leave from there and go. This is what this is the MO of the white European. No punishment. Just able to move around and kill as will. Do what you want to do, kill. Dylan Roof, the little white boy, who went to the riot in Wisconsin. Was that his name? Dylan Roof? Oh, I'm getting them mixed up. The white ones. Was Dylan Roof the one who shot the Christians in the church, South Carolina? Yeah, I don't remember. I can't remember. I'm thinking about Rittenhouse. I can't remember his name. But the little white boy who mama put him in the car, took him to the riot with the gun in the car. She drove him there like an Uber, dropped him off. He going there to protect, he's saying, the buildings or the businesses of these white Europeans. He kills a couple of people, goes to court, sits on the witness stand, cries a few fake ass white tears, and he get off scot-free. He get to move around. He gonna go from that city, gonna go to another city, probably gonna kill somebody over there. This is the same precedence that's being set right here in this Bible. God didn't punish, Cain or nothing like that. Gave him protection. They protected that white. Matter of fact, what's his name? George Zimmerman. The NRA, they protect them. The racist white people, the Ku Klux Klan and all that stuff, they protect Zimmerman. They treat him like a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? He killed Trayvon Martin. So he got off, went to court, got off, beat the case. Now he's free to go kill somebody else. You know what I'm saying? While somebody's baby is dead and gone. So the precedence was set right here in this book. When you go to court, they make you put your hand on the right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, Whole truth and so help you God. You swearing on this book, which is a lie. You swearing all of your stuff is gonna be true on this book that's a lie that tells you that if you murder somebody, kill somebody, they ain't gonna do nothing to you. They gonna protect you and they gonna just move you out of that spot and send you somewhere else, and you be able to go over there scot free. No punishment, no vengeance. This is what God said in verse 15. And the Lord said unto him, therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. That means anybody touch this man, I'm going to kill you sevenfold times. You know what I'm saying? But him, even though he committed the first murder, he can get off. He all right. No problem. He can do whatever he wants. But you better not touch him. So that tells you, as the how they say, you're supposed to have vengeance. This is why black people, I'm just gonna say it. This is why black people are just mentally messed up psychologically, especially if you're in the church. You know, you've been programmed a certain way, right? In church, they programmed you be afraid, timid, scared and stuff of white people. All this stuff is psychologically, subconsciously messing with your mind, right? And you're reading these scriptures, you're being preached to every Sunday in church by these pastors. And they're giving you this message every Sunday that you should be submissive, that you should be forgiving, you should be all this stuff. No vengeance, right? So that's why you have all of these police murders that happen, by these racist police, you know what I'm saying? George Floyd, everybody saw it in the world. You know what I'm saying? They sent him to jail. They couldn't help it. It was just too brutal. They had to do something to him. But the white police officer who's racist, who put his knee on George Floyd's neck while he was handcuffed on the ground, you know what I'm saying, until his life left his body. What kind of inhumane, man, you know what I'm saying? What? And then the black mother are supposed to be forgiving. They're supposed to, oh God, we're forgive this person because we're Christians. Oh, we forgive this. That's what the mentality. Instead of seeking revenge, and the precedence is being set right here. God said in verse 15, unto him, therefore, whosoever slay Cain, who's a murderer, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. So if you mess with him, even though he murdered his brother, I'm going to kill you 7 times worse than that. This is what the precedence is being set. So that's telling people, even if somebody murdered your kids and stuff like that, you're supposed to let it go. You can't seek vengeance. You know what I'm saying? No vengeance, none of that stuff. The precedence was set right there. Think about it. Verse 16. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. All right. Land of Nod, east of Eden. Right. So remember, chapter 1, we established that Eden is in Africa. So now when you look at Eden, they moved it to do 2 different locations. Right. The river, they split. 2 rivers are in Ethiopia. And slip of my tongue. But in Ethiopia on the East River, and then the second one is in Mesopotamia, which is Iraq, Iran, right? So east of Eden. So in that area, we're talking about Iraq, Iran, in the land of Nod. Okay, so that's 16. Verse 17. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Enoch. Okay. Verse 17. And Cain knew his wife. That means he has sex with his wife. First of all, here we go again. Where did this wife come from? Right? If there's only supposed to be Adam, Eve, Cain, because Cain killed Abel. It's supposed to be 3. Where is this wife coming from that he talking about? Number 2, where's this ceremony that she became a wife, right? Number 3, they had a son who built a city. How did he, by himself, build a city? Hello? Hello? Anybody? Hello? Are you reading this stuff? This is why I'm reading this to you. Because most Christians do not read this, and they don't read it. If they do read it, they don't read it with common sense. They read it with this faith that they're supposed to have. They read it out of fear. They're not supposed to question this God of this book. They're taught not to ask questions, but trust God. That's what they're taught in church, okay? You're not supposed to question the God of this book, according to the pastor and the theologians who taught that pastor in seminary school, okay? So they're getting this guidance from this man, this pastor in this pulpit, telling them, you better not question the ways of God. You better not question, or else you're going to go to hell. Punishment. Fear. But the woman, back in the garden, she was like, I'm going to listen to the serpent. The serpent told the truth. The serpent said, you shall not die. Don't worry about it. That fruit is okay. Then, you know what I'm saying? God know. God know if you eat it, you're going to be just like us. Knowing the difference between good and evil. I mean, what's so bad about that? The woman was courageous. She had courage. She was like, all right, cool. She ate it, didn't die, gave it to her husband. He was a punk, but anyway. So, here in verse 17, Cain knew his wife and bought us and had a son, right? No mention of a woman. No mention of daughter, nothing. But this one son, Enoch, built the city. How? Now all of a sudden, allegedly in the story, it's supposed to be 4 people on the earth. Well, 5. It's supposed to be Adam, Eve, Cain, his wife, and now this boy, Enoch. Allegedly. If you counting, you count the names and stuff like that, right? In the story, from chapter 1 to chapter 4. If you count the names, this all that's showing. All right? 5. So the insignificance of the woman. Even though he said he knew his wife. Where the hell she come from? Who is she? No mention of her name. No mention where she came from. No mention of how she got there. How she was born. Her mother and father. Nothing. They just out the blue. Poof. Here's a woman. He knew his wife. He knew his wife. But poof. Out of nowhere. And he'd be like, who the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? So if you read with your common sense, you can tell. You're like, this don't make no sense. All right. And he built a city by himself. Okay. Anyway. Whatever. Verse 18. And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot Mehujal, and Mehujal begot Methuselah, and Methuselah begot Lamech. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. He got 2 now. So he poly, wait a minute. What is it called, man? Okay, I can't recall right now. Oh man. What is it called? Oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Where you have one one spouse and as opposed to 2. Poly. I can't even remember, man. It's gonna come to me after I finish. But when you have multiple wives, now that is an African tradition, okay? Having multiple wives is an African tradition, all right? So white Europeans, they stole that concept from Africans. Africans used it in a way to be able to grow their tribes, okay? Multiple women in the tribe, you know what I'm saying? The chief of the tribe or whoever would have multiple women, and they would be, he'd have his wife or whatever, and then he'd have several concubines underneath, they would all bear children, for the chief of the tribe, and, they'll eventually grow king and all of this, that, and the third, right? That was the purpose of that, to be able to grow a tribe that will be able to help with the tribe, to be able to help, build things and, take care, provide, go out and hunt, to be able to find food and all of this stuff like that. You needed, bodies. You needed multiple people. So that was what the is it polytheism? I don't know, it's not polytheism, but it's gonna come to me. But I can't think of it right now. But multiple wives, right? So now here in the story, Lamech has 2 wives. Where the hell they come from? You know what I'm saying? No mention of their names, their mother and father, how they got there, nothing. It's just like he got 2 wives. And then, he got multiple wives instead of just one now. You know what I'm saying? So now he got 2 wives. And the name of one was Ada, and the name of the other was Zillah. Right? So from A to Z. He got from A to Z. He got him some women. So, and Ada bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwelt in tents. So they telling on themselves. They're telling on themselves. I'm going to tell you something. If you think about that, I'm going to go back over that again. The white European is telling on himself. He's telling about the history of his people and how they were pretty much nomads. And they were sheep herders, walking and, from here, wandering the land. They didn't build no cities. That's some BS. Africans built cities. Africans built, civilization. Africans built society. You can go right now to Egypt in 2022. You can see everything the Africans built. It's still there. Okay? In 2022, you can go and see the pyramids. You can see the temple structures. And some of it still looking beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the carvings and the paintings and stuff that you will see in the African temples. Oh my gosh. The burial chambers, oh my gosh, exquisite. I mean, excellent. The Africans built excellent. And it's still there. These white Europeans was living in tents. The author is telling on themselves. They're telling on themselves. I told you, you got to look at the characters in the story. And when we get further down, especially when we get to Noah, when we get to Noah and we start talking about Noah and the sons of Noah, you will tell the difference of the characters, what race they were supposed to be identified as, right? So we'll get to that. Anyway, and Ada bare Jabal, he was the father of such as dwelled in tents, and of such as have cattle. They were cattle herders, nomads, going from here to there with their little tents. Posting up. They didn't build no cities. They didn't know how to do that. They had no knowledge of science or nothing. They were just like savages. Living like savages. So you just got to understand the mindset here. But anyway. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handled the harp and organ. I'm going to read that again. This is verse 21, chapter 4 Genesis. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handled the harp and organ. So they talking about musical instruments. Okay? Musical instruments. This is Genesis chapter 4. This is before the flood story. This is before they had organs like a piano organ. Oh my gosh, man. This stuff is so ridiculous. They had piano organs and harps. Oh my God. Man, the ridiculousness, okay? The ridiculousness of this book is unreal. If you read it, it's like, where did this organ stuff come from? And how did it get there? Who built the organ? Number one, you got 5 people. Well, allegedly, no, I got a couple of more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, then 11 people on the earth. Allegedly, these are the 11 names that I see in the book. I'm counting the names from chapter 4 from chapter 1 rather to chapter 4. I'm counting the names. There's 11. They build a city. they playing with the harp. They playing with the organ. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Where these women coming from? It's just so crazy. All right, verse 22. We almost done. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. Now, artificer is an instrument. All right, it's implemented in agriculture and construction, but it's also used as a weapon, right? So they saying that this is sort of like the first blacksmith, who's able to create tools to be able to do this stuff. But this dude came after, you know what I'm saying? He came after this one who was playing with the harp and who built the city. He was born after that. So if he was born after, you know what I'm saying, Lamech, or no, Enoch, who built the city, and he's the one who created the tools, well, how the hell did Enoch create a city? He had no tools. He had no tool maker until this Tubal Cain came along. He was a baby. How did he do that? But see, they don't think you're supposed to be rationalizing and using your common sense while reading this stuff. They didn't expect that. Okay, they expected to use this. The Bible wasn't really meant to be read by the common people. It was meant to be read by those in the royal family, allegedly the kings and queens and stuff like that of England, and the Roman Catholic Church, the priests and all that stuff. And they would come out to the courtyard, and the whole massive crowd will gather around. They were all illiterate people, and the Pope would come out. They still do this ritual to this day. You know what I'm saying? The Pope would come out on the top or whatever from the church, and he would talk and he would speak to the masses, speaking from these stories from this book, telling you whatever you want, you to hear to make you feel good or feel a certain way or whatever from this book. You know what I'm saying? But the common people were not meant to read this stuff. They messed up when they actually started teaching us to read and all that, teaching us English and all of that. They messed up. They made a mistake. Because now, we got common sense. You know what I'm saying? Our intuition will kick in, from your third eye and stuff like that. You get your intuition and awareness and understanding and all that stuff, and your gut is telling you, this don't make no sense. So they add it up. You know what I'm saying? So they were meant to use this book to control the masses, their minds. Control the masses of the minds of the ignorant populace. The masses of the people were ignorant. They didn't go to school back then. They didn't go to no, we're forced to go to school now, but back then people had choice. They didn't go to no school. And you go to school unless you wanted to become like a priest or you want to become some, part of the royal family and you want to do that. That was for special people. You know what I'm saying? There was only a select few who did that. Not everybody. Nowadays, everybody has to go to school. Everybody has to be taught English. Everybody has to be programmed. From birth. You send your baby to kindergarten at 5 years old to be programmed into the white European system. It's called Hellenization. They've been doing Hellenization ever since 332 BCE when Alexander the Greek conquered Egypt. They've been Hellenizing and programming everyone ever since then into the thinking of the white European male. And we still do it to this day. We go to school, we go to work, we do all of these things that the white man has created. The policies, the governance, the government, the laws, everything the white man has created, all of this stuff. And we are just following it. And we being programmed at church every Sunday morning, Wednesday night. You know what I'm saying? They want to make sure you stay programmed. They offer you a mid-week program in the middle of the week so you can stay dumb throughout the rest of the week. You know what I'm saying? Until you get to Sunday. Because if they let you go too long, you might start slipping and forgetting and stuff what they told you, and you start making your own choices and decisions using your common sense. And they be like, no, we need you to come in on Wednesday too. Not just Sunday, but Wednesday night. We're going to keep this going. We're going to keep programming you. You know what I'm saying? Constantly reminding, retelling the same story over and over and over and over again. They don't go dig deep into each scripture. They pick and choose which scripture they want to tell you. They pick and choose and then they exclude the rest. Because they know that once you find out, that don't make no sense. You're going to be like questioning. You're going to be doubting. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. And you're right. Something ain't right. That's why we got esoteric Bible study. All right. So, verse 22. And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. Those are the instruments and tools and weapons. And the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah. All right. Naamah. So they finally gave some credit to a woman and named her. This was another woman that was named. The only other woman that was named was Eve in the story from chapter 1 through chapter 4. Naamah is finally given some type of credit. and then Zillah and what's her name? Those are the brothers and sisters. But here's another woman, but they claiming some significance of. Verse 23, and Lamech said unto his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. 24, if Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold. So, here's another murderer. Here's another murderer. He's boasting, telling his wives, I killed somebody already. I don't know who he killed, where they came from. He said he slain another man. You know what I'm saying? To my wounding. And he's proudly proclaiming this to his two wives, his multiple wives. Then he said, if Cain got off and God forgave him, guess what he gonna do for me? You see what I'm saying? Now you understand the mindset of the white European? The white European male, I can get away with murder and ain't nothing gonna happen to me. God gonna take care of me, and guess what? Gonna avenge me and protect me, and I can just go on and kill and do whatever, and I'm gonna boastfully tell you that I'm gonna kill. And nothing's gonna happen to me. That is the mindset. That is a mindset, and this is where it's being preached. This is what is inside this book. This is what gives them validity to be able to do that. Justifying them to be able to murder, kill without punishment. You understand? You got to be thinking. You got to understand that this Bible, this religion, Christianity, Judaism, even Islam. I'm going to get into Islam too. I haven't even touched Islam yet because we got to get to the head of the snake first. You chop the head of the snake, the rest of the body should fall. You know what I'm saying? But Christianity, Judaism is right here in this book. It's right here in this book. Okay? So, he said right there, if Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold. That's the mindset. They can get away with it. Hey, if he did it, I know I can. And I'm going to be avenged seven, just like him. Ain't nothing going to happen to me. I killed a man already. He proudly told his two wives right there in verse 23. He told them, and Lamech said unto his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. I done killed two people. I done killed two. Ain't nothing gonna happen to me. I'm a white European male. This is the mindset. You got to understand this stuff. You got to dig deeper and understand. So, if you think back on slavery and all that they did, when they came into the land, the white European did, they came in humble. Oh, we come in the name of Jesus Christ. They brought their priest in front first. Oh, we love all people. And in the middle of the night, they killing the people, killing them, stabbing all type of stuff, raping the women and all type of shit. Then they give those who made it and survived, they give them a Bible. You will now become, you gonna do this by force. And the kids that came after them, you are now this. Like, what? Wait a minute, man. Anyway, all right, verse 25. And Adam knew his wife again. That means they had sex. Second time. And she bare a son and called his name Seth. Like the Seth Lord of Star Wars. Anyway, for God said, she have appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. All right, we finished. That's it. That's the end of chapter 4. All right, so looking at Seth, the name Seth has S-E-T in it. Now, S-E-T, is a very ancient African deity called Set. Came down from the Nubians in the south. Even further down from that, down in the mountain of the moon in Uganda, with the Twa in the Congo. Set, ancient African deity. All right. The name here, Seth, S-E-T-H, by the Greeks, the Romans, and now the British English author Francis Bacon has paying homage here to the god Set, the ancient African god Set, giving them some credit or credence in this book. All right. Somehow, some way, just giving that name Set with the name Set in it. Okay. So that god Set is an ancient African god. All right. So if you go back and look, S-E-T, and you Google that name, you'll come up Set, Egyptian god. It'll show you everything about Set. All right. But said that God appointed another seed instead of Abel, who slain, or who Cain slew, and to Set, to him also there was born a son. So the end of chapter 4. Chapter 4 was absolutely, it wasn't as crazy as chapter 3, but it was right up there. It was right up there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff that was going on, people that we didn't know, women who just out of nowhere, how they was able to get away with murder without punishment. You know, that set the precedence of what we are in living today in this society, you know, all over. I mean, mass shooters and stuff like that, and all type of stuff, man. Murderers, you know, racists, you know, white European police killing black people. I mean, I can go down the whole list of names and stuff. Eric Gardner, you know what I'm saying? Sandra Bland, you know, just list of names that they killed. George Floyd, just, and then got off. Nothing happened. They moved him on to another land, you know. Now, that one who killed George Floyd, they had to do something to him because it was just like seen by everyone in the world. They couldn't stop it. They had to do something about that. They had to, you know, make an example of him. You know, it was just too much. But murder was pretty much reduced for the white European, and punishment was not given. It wasn't established. Okay. They were protected for murder in the book. I just read the scriptures to you. So, like I said, man, a lot of stuff that has happened based on this book, this story in the world, and how we live in this society today. It's the reason why you got to go back and study history. It's the reason why you got to go back and know what happened so you can know why you're doing what you're doing today. A lot of people don't even know why they're doing the stuff that they're doing. They're just doing it just because their mamas, their daddies, their grandmamas, their granddaddies told them to do it. And they doing it without question. And they doing it without question. No one goes back and checks the history. No one goes back and looks and researches and understands why. They don't even read this book. Christians don't even read this book. And they claim to believe in this Jesus and claim to believe in this God and claim to have this faith, and they don't even know the basis of what they're supposed to believe in. This is the instructions for all the religions, the Christian religion, all of the different denominations, Catholic, Protestant, Baptist, non-denomination, you know what I'm saying? Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventist, you know what I'm saying? Adventists, Mormons, the basis is right here. All the instructions. Every Sunday, the preachers preach from this book. They give instructions to the congregation who sit back and just listen like sheep. Don't question nothing. In fear. Thinking if they say anything, they're going to go to hell. It's crazy to me. But anyway, listen. Don't mean to laugh, all right? So listen, spend another Marifa moment, man, okay? Knowledge has been reborn. All right. So remember, the more you know, the more you'll grow, and the better off we all shall be. So until next time, I'll say love and light. Peace.